Welcome to the I Love Coaching podcast, where we believe coaching solves everything.
Welcome back, everybody, to the I Love Coaching podcast. I am your host, Adam Roach, and today we have an entrepreneur, we have a health guru, we have someone that, well, let's just put it this way. I mean, if I ever need something, I can just throw a rock and hit her house and say, "Can I have some eggs?" We have Helen with us today from Blender Bomb. Helen, my neighbor, my friend, how are you?
Yeah, we are neighbors. We are very close. We live very close to each other.
We do.
And you absolutely transformed that house. It looks so much better now.
Thank you. Yeah, we put a little paint on it. Put a little paint.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you did put a lot of paint, a lot of plants.
A lot of plants.
Sorry, we got an ambulance coming by.
That's okay.
Alan and I are living in Atlanta right now, and we just had this conversation before I hopped on this podcast, but the two of us work from home. And so it's going to be really difficult us both working from home.
It will be fun.
Especially when a baby comes.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So now, where are you originally from?
I'm from Atlanta.
You are from Atlanta. So yeah. we always have an intro with the I Love Coaching podcast that goes like this. Helen Hall, you were born, and then what happened?
I was born in Atlanta and went to college in South Carolina and moved to Charleston. Gotcha. So now I'm like 1 week on, 1 week off, Atlanta and Charleston, because my husband lives in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm. Congratulations, newlyweds, right?
Yeah.
Excellent. I love it. Which we also got to witness because it was in your backyard. Yeah. So fun. Okay, so Atlanta, Charleston, Atlanta back in Charleston, and in the health space, right? So tell us about your vertical. What are you in?
Yeah, so I have a company called Blender Bombs, and it's in the CPG space, which is consumer packaged goods, specifically the raw food industry. And I've always been interested in health and wellness. It started in college when I gained 30 pounds my freshman year of college and I was like determined to figure out how to lose it. And so that's what really kickstarted my interest in health and fitness. And I think that's where we first met, was when I was working at a juice bar in Charleston. Adam was coming in all the time. It's like, who's this California guy who knows what a juice is?
That was me.
Because people in the South at that time, like 4 or 5 years ago, they didn't know what a juice was.
No.
Now they're everywhere.
Everywhere. You know, it's fascinating. We got into juicing in the early 2000s in Los Angeles, and Addison, my son, he actually had, I think, his first juice. I don't think the doctor even said we should do it, but like 1.5 or 2, we put some in his bottle, and sure enough, he drank it. And he loves it to this day. He still loves green juice.
Yeah, juices. How could you not? It's so good.
So 30 pounds you gained. How do I get this off? And then you went down this path. So walk us down this path. What happened?
Yeah. So at first I did, keto, paleo, completely vegan. I did all those fad diets, like the cabbage soup diet, the military diet, like every trend you could back in the day.
Right.
And I would lose some pounds and then I would gain it back when I was normal again. I never understood the concept of feeling satiated or feeling full and what fiber was. So, if you look at 3 stomachs side by side and you look at what 400 calories of oil is versus 400 calories of meat versus 400 calories of fruits and vegetables, like your stomach is full with 400 or 3/4 of the way full with 400 calories of fruits and vegetables. It's like 1/3 of the way full with 400 calories of meat. And it's like not even an inch full with 400 calories of oil. So that is honestly, that seeing that in my brain, I'm like, oh my God. So my diet does need to be mostly fruits and vegetables. Then I'll feel full. Then I won't binge eat, and then I'll lose weight. And that's what I did. And so smoothies, sometimes it's hard. I don't like vegetables. Like I don't like them at all. Yeah. So it's hard for me to sit there and stick my fork in a spinach leaf and enjoy it. I'm not going to do it. So the only way that I can eat vegetables is I blend them in a smoothie with some fruit. And so I get a shit ton of fruits and vegetables, my first meal of the day. And that honestly changed my life.
Love it.
So then the next step was, after college, I became a personal trainer. I started noticing that my clients had the same issue and learning curve that I used to have, was that you can exercise all you want, but you can't, out exercise the bad diet, that cliche saying that is true. So
Yeah.
then I would ask them to make smoothies and they would say it's too hard, or they would go buy all the ingredients, but they wouldn't actually make the smoothie because it was too many steps. Like, same reason why you probably didn't want to make the green juice anymore. You went and bought it every morning. It was
Sure.
worth $10 to you.
Yep.
So then because I had them putting in their smoothies, chia seed, hemp seed, flax seed, walnuts, pecans, dates, almonds, bee pollen, like honey, all this stuff. And it took too long to make it. So I was like, all right, I'll make a shortcut for you so you can have a smoothie. I took all those dry ingredients, rolled them into a ball, like a large energy bite, so they could throw it in a smoothie with just a cup of fruit and a cup of vegetables, water and ice, and move on. And testimonials started like rolling in. People that weren't my clients started asking for them. And yeah, it kind of turned into a business organically that way.
Right.
And then we came across customers who, even when it was 3 steps to make a smoothie, they still didn't want to do that. So we opened up a smoothie bar for people like you to go pay, $10, $11 for a smoothie so they didn't have to make it.
Isn't that funny? In the business world, we always say there's 3 types of consumers. There's the DIYers, right? Show me how to do it and I'll go do it. There's the DIYers that still need a little bit of help and guidance. And so hence the 3 ingredients. And then it's just like, you know what, screw it, do it for me. And
That's
I'll
how
pay
I
the
am.
premium price, right?
Like, I own the company and I still Uber Eats the smoothie bar every day. Like, I'll pay a fee to get that because I know how much it impacts my like energy levels and my health throughout the day. So it's worth it.
Now let's go down that path. So let's say we have just about everybody in our world, for the most part, whether it's United States or wherever, they've heard of juicing, they've heard of smoothies, they've heard of this. It's not even a fad anymore. It's just a way of life to drink a smoothie. Talk to them about the energy that you create for yourself by doing the fruits and vegetables in the morning, right? I was an athlete my entire life, and I was always taught you got to have a big hearty breakfast, right? You got to have a big heart. And until I hired a nutritionist, and she was like, nope, you're going to be drinking green juice and having fruits. I was like, yeah, I don't think so. And it worked. It gave me a ton of energy. So tell us about that.
It's just really easy for your body to digest fruits in the morning. Fruits, even alone, are really good to digest. And if you have vegetables, I would say I don't even want to say that because any sort of vegetable is fine, right? But if you have eggs and bread, protein and carbs and all that stuff, you can just run an experiment on yourself. You're going to be tired afterwards. You're going to need a nap after lunch. That's why everyone gets so sleepy at 2:00 in the afternoon, is because it's after lunch.
Yeah.
And so the biggest thing for me, and I'm sure you and all your entrepreneurs that are listening, is you want to have sustained energy throughout the day. So you want a sustained blood sugar levels. And when you have fruits and vegetables and you add a blender bomb to it, which is super high in fiber, and it does the fat from the nuts and seeds, it levels out your blood sugar. So there's a lot of diabetics who used to not be able to drink smoothies because they would spike their blood sugar, but then when they add a blender bomb to their blood sugar and they measure it, their blood sugar doesn't spike above range.
Yeah.
So then they don't get tired. And then that's why green juice, they say and again, I think any sort of juice is fine because you're getting the nutrients you need. But if you do tend to get tired after juice, try a juice without fruit as the base. Yeah. So more like cucumber, lemon, celery, that sort of stuff. So you can get the veggies and the green stuff in without, a sugar spike if you're sensitive to it. Not everyone is.
Yeah, exactly. So then the sustainable energy, right? So most people, I would say most people that I know will go get a cup of coffee to sustain their energy. What do we say to those people? What would you say to people? Because I know what I would say to them.
I think it's also like just the amount of personal experiments I've done on myself. I can say that I don't need coffee for energy. In fact, sometimes I cut coffee out because I crash afterwards. Like, I'll notice a crash 3-4 hours after a cup of coffee. Yeah. And again, it all depends on the person, but experiment with yourself and try having, instead of like instead of a shortcut with coffee, try like a long sustainable route of eating fruits and vegetables in the morning and see how that makes you feel. Tom Brady has a smoothie every morning. So
Right.
he doesn't, and I don't think he drinks coffee in the morning. Maybe he does, but I don't think he does.
I've never drank coffee my entire life. Like,
No.
I take that back. One time in Los Angeles, I was taking tennis, and we might have had a long night the night before. And someone was like, "You need to go have a cup of coffee." And I said, "I don't drink coffee, but it'll keep you awake." It's fine. I found out real quick that coffee, and I'd heard this, but I found out real quick that coffee was a diuretic. And I didn't last on the court very long enough to my last cup of coffee.
And you do not need coffee. You have so much energy.
Yeah. So I love what you just said there. Personal experiment. Go figure out what your body is telling you and listen to it, right?
Yeah, and it might take a little bit because it does take a while to break a habit. So
yeah,
I think I read this the other day because I'm pregnant, but they said it takes 3 days to develop a habit in a kid and 1 day to break a habit. And so imagine multiplying that times 20 or times 10 for an adult. Like, it's going to take a while to break a habit and to really feel the effects of something. But I don't know. I feel like you should also give your journey, Adam, because you have been so health conscious for a while, and I'm sure it was not always like that.
Every Monday we do what's called a Monday Mojo here. And this last week, and you can appreciate this, it was, we went on a little bit of a binger. We had some friends in town. They've actually rented your house before. We went to a concert on DI. We weren't really, well, let me rephrase that. I was paying attention to what we were eating and consuming, and I knew how it was going to make me feel. Here we are a week removed from that, and I got a little bit of the sniffles, right? My body was shutting down from all the junk that I was putting into it, and I got a little cold. And I don't get colds. I don't get sick at all. So yeah, my journey now is 100% attached to outliving when my father died, right? He died at 69, and he and I were extremely competitive. And I even tell him every morning, now that he's dead, Dad, there's one thing I'll beat you at, and that's going to be the age, because my body is going to be so well maintained by what I put inside of it. So what I love, and this is kind of wild, I've known you and Blender Bomb hand in hand forever. And I just realized that what the little balls were the blender bombs that you put in there to make this smoothie. I mean, I knew what they did, but I didn't realize that that's where the name came from. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Blender Bomb. And we're rebranding this year. So the whole company is going to be called Bomb Foods, but the product will still be Blender Bombs.
Oh, that's cool. Nice. So walk us down this path. Okay. So we've gained 30 pounds. We started learning that our clients that you were training, they didn't want to make their stuff. You started learning about this yourself. And then when did the entrepreneurialness kick in to say, let's make this a company?
I think I've always naturally been a little bit entrepreneurial, but not like business minded. It's more like I've never been afraid to act on a desire, like a creative outlet or something like that. So growing up, if I asked my parents to, pay for me to go on a trip, they would say most likely no. But if I wanted them to pay for me to go to Hobby Lobby and like do some art, they would always say yes. Yeah. So I was never told no for doing anything creative, and I was never like critiqued for anything creative growing up. And that's why I went to school for fashion merchandising, just because I originally thought I was going to be a fashion designer or jewelry designer of some sort. And even though I'm not in that industry, like I still am creative every single day when it comes to how I market the product. But back to the original question, when did the entrepreneur thing kick in? It took a while. At first, I was selling, like I didn't know anything about business at all. Like I've always struggled with putting a price on my time or my worth. Like I still struggle with that. But I didn't even charge my clients for the blender bombs at first. Like I was charging $25 for an hour-long workout session, and that's so cheap. That's like disgusting. And I was giving them blender bombs for free on top of it. And then, my bank account was still really low. And so I'm like, all right, I need to at least charge costs for this. So I started charging costs for the blender bombs. I wasn't even accounting for the time it would take to go to the grocery store and buy the products. And so finally, I don't know who told me, but they were like, you need to like charge more for these. And so I sat down and I calculated how much my time was worth at like $20 an hour, as if I was going to outsource it to someone who I would pay $20 an hour to for them to make the blender bombs. And that's when we came up with the actual price of the blender bombs. Like the third round of pricing is what it still is today, which is like $2.50 a blender bomb. So we did that. And then my friend who owned a jewelry company told me to start selling them on Shopify. So I like built a Shopify website that night, the free 14-day version. And I posted about it on my Instagram, which I think had 1,500 followers at the time. And people started like buying them. It was crazy. The biggest thing that held me back from starting the business was that I did not believe that people would want it, like I didn't think that people would see value in it, but they did. And it blew up. We did like over $1 million in sales within the first 13 months.
Wow. Congratulations.
It's crazy.
Awesome. What, walk us back time-wise. What year was that?
2017, April. Wow. 2017 is when I started like making them. I don't think I launched a website until June, maybe. Or I don't even know.
So let's back up. How fun is this? So we went from didn't know the price to just go ahead and doing it for cost, then to adding a little bit of your own time value of money into it, to then go into Shopify, and the next thing we know, there's $1 million in revenue.
Yeah, and then I was not charging enough for shipping, so I lost money there. Then I had to finally increase the shipping cost so that was fair price. Yeah, it was crazy. And then I was like hustling my ass off. I was working nonstop. I was making the blender bombs. I was doing the marketing. I was shipping the products. I was doing the customer service emails. And I did that for several months until finally I outsourced the production of the blender bombs. And then I outsourced the shipping. Then I outsourced the customer service, and I still do the marketing.
Yeah. And you do it extremely well, by the way.
Thank you. I still do feel like we're going through a cap raise right now. So we're doing a $3 million raise. It's our first one. Because originally that first year where I said we did $1 million in sales, like I saved every penny except for investing in a coaching course. That is the one thing I did invest in. So you guys are all in the right place. And I would just caution anyone who's listening, a mistake that I did make was not investing enough in mentorship. And if I had done that, I would have prevented a lot of mistakes and like been completely open about the business and things that I was struggling with or things that I was iffy on. If I had had a mentor that I could have talked to, it would have prevented so many mistakes. So like y'all are smart to get coaching. But
hold on, stay there for a second. Stay there for 1 second. So what was the cause of, were you going too fast? Did you not believe that you could afford a coach? Did you not, what was that mentorship or lack of there that caused that?
Honestly, I think it was like fear of wasting someone else's time. Like I had figured it out myself so far, and I have never been afraid of like failure and making mistakes. Like I said, it was the way that I was raised. I never got in trouble for making mistakes unless it was something harmful. Right. But it was always just like, what did you learn, sort of thing. So it's like it's up until last year is all a game of like learning the hard way. Yeah. But almost $100,000 later in like lawyer fees from different, lawsuits from not having protection, or just organizational documents that I should have had done before, or like poor business decisions that, a mentor would have been like, hey, you need to like stay honed in on what you should be focused on. It's just expensive mistakes.
Well, and the fascinating part too, and I want to share this with all of our listeners, and I know you can attest to this, is a coach, a mentor, whatever it may be, they can see the 50,000-foot view of your business because you're in the business, right? You are hustling, you're busting your ass, and you don't get to see all those little details that need to be taken care of. Or you just overlook them.
And most of the time, like they've done it before, or they've learned from their past mistakes. And my parents never, even though they always gave me what I needed, they never mentored me either. So I didn't understand what a mentor was.
Right.
They just let me learn from my mistakes. But there comes a time when you got to listen to someone else.
You definitely do. And the neat part about that is it sounds like you're extremely coachable, which I know you are, to take advice from someone. And isn't that fascinating? I know we're going a little bit away from health, but isn't it fascinating how our limiting beliefs can almost derail us because the cost of a bad mistake is way exceeds the cost of whether a coach or mentor or a consultant, whatever it is. It's crazy. Yeah, we've seen
totally.
All right, go back to health space. So give us some testimonials. Give us something that you're proud that the product has either done for someone, some organization, something. What are you most proud of it's done?
We get a lot of, I would say I was writing an email schedule for this to say today, but I would say 5 different categories. We've got Crohn's disease, we've got diabetes, pregnancy, postpartum, weight loss, and just overall energy. And then a 6th one would be like parenting, getting your kids to eat more vegetables. So those are kind of what we hear the most about. I get teary-eyed with like, the diabetes and the Crohn's ones, because oftentimes those people feel totally helpless.
Yeah.
And then when they figure out the power of plants, because it isn't just pushing products, blender bombs or bomb foods, what it's called now is more like trying to reframe people's mindsets too about food.
Yeah. Well, and unfortunately, sometimes people think that this healthiness style of lifestyle is expensive. I mean, what proactive versus reactive dollars, there's a big difference there.
Yeah, it is not expensive. Yeah. And hopefully that's been debunked these days. I mean, it's going to be more expensive than eating ramen for every meal, but like generally if you budget, $15 to $20 a day for food, $10 to $20 a day for food, like you can do it.
Yeah,
you can stretch a penny.
Well, what's that saying? Pay now and play later. You can play now and pay later, right? Yeah.
If you want to outlive your dad, you've got to start investing in your health now. And it's the same concept of oh God, I'm drawing a blank. What's it called when you start investing your money and then it stacks up?
Effect.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Compound interest.
By the way, the dinging that you keep hearing, I told you this call is going to be organic. That's also your neighbor, my soon-to-be wife, just blowing me up.
She loves it.
Hey, thanks, Dana, for blowing me up. Yeah. Okay, yes, so now give us
compound interest with health is a real thing.
Exactly, it totally is. Fast forward, where are we going to be in 5 years? What's blender food? What's mom foods look like in 5 years?
So right now we're doing just shy of $4 million in sales, and we have 4 full-time people. Nice. We are doing our capital raise, and we're going to be hiring like 8 to 9 more full-time people. Okay. So in 5 years, we'll probably have quadrupled our revenue. 20 smoothie bars will be open. Well, because we're franchising those. We just got the FDD last week.
Congratulations.
Hopefully I'll have 2 kids by then. No more. Nice. And we'll be full-time in Charleston.
We still going to be neighbors? Or going to buy a bigger house?
Yeah. No, I want to lift the house. We can't, I mean, with everything going on in our neighborhood, it'd be crazy to buy another house.
I know it would.
You got lucky. You got in at the right time.
We got the perfect time. Yeah, for sure. Okay, let's have some fun here. I want you to sell. So with all of our listeners, how can they, number one, go follow you, go learn about blender bombs, also go learn about blender food. And then I know you just got approved for this. If someone wants to come buy a franchise, what do? So sell us. Yeah. So Helen Hall is my Instagram handle, HelenHall. If you want to buy a franchise, you can email me at helen@blenderbombs.com. And then obviously at Blender Bombs on Instagram. Yep.
But if you're in Charleston, go to Hustle Smoothie Bar. That's in Town Center. We're going to start a podcast soon too. So stay tuned for that.
Good. That'll be fun. What would we call them? Bomb Foods or Blender Bomb?
For the podcast?
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know. It's going to be, I think, Truth Bombs, because it'll be more like life too. We'll see.
Perfect. Okay. So let's tell our listeners to go do something. right?
Yeah.
So maybe they're teetering on this line of should I not? Maybe I have a smoothie a month or a green juice a month. Go give them some action items. Go tell them what should they do from someone that has lived this, no joke, lived this lifestyle for as long as you have.
Well, for when it comes to food, I would say just make a smoothie every day for a week. Make a blender bomb smoothie every day for a week. See how you feel with that. Again, like experiment. But another action item is, since you guys are entrepreneurs for the most part, read the book Play Bigger. It's really cool. It's one of my favorite books for entrepreneurs. It's about category kings.
Love some category kings. Perfect. Anything else? So we've got make a blender bomb once a week, read the book Play Bigger. Anything else?
Sleep. I think
Sleep.
even before food, sleep is the most important thing you can do.
Yeah, we talked about that today on Monday Mojo about the Aura Ring. I love.
Oh
this
yeah.
Aura Ring. Yes.
I keep hearing about that.
Get you one for sure. Okay, perfect. That was really good stuff here. There was one thing I was gonna. You said you've never been afraid to do anything. So I'm gonna close and end with this for all of our listeners. You've never been afraid to go take action on anything, which has been amazing. I know some of our listeners are in that same boat. Ladies and gentlemen, all of our listeners right now, it's good to be able to take action on things, but if you're not healthy, you won't last, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to last in that space to want to go have the energy to go take actions on things. And that's why this month at I Love Coaching, we were really focusing on nothing but health and wellness. So get healthy, stay healthy, and have energy to go take big ass action on shit.
Yeah.
Well, Helen, thank you for jumping on here. We really appreciate your time, energy, and effort. And everybody go follow her. She told you where to go. Those will all be in the show notes. All of her links and how to go get into a franchise opportunity with Helen Hall and Bomb Foods. Helen, thank you very much. My name is Adam Roach. I've been your host, and this has been my guest, Helen Hall with Bomb Foods, Blender Bomb, and my neighbor.
Yep.
See ya.
Thank you.